Hello, everybody, and welcome to GLATD. We are your hosts, Braden White. I am Jessica Milagros, and we are here to talk about BB Canada 11 week 4 post veto episode and
Period.
Queen Kuzie'S reign.
Period.
Yay!
I love to see it. I truly
we
love to see it.
we sure do. If this is your first time watching us live, click like right now, subscribe, click to receive our notifications when we are on. Typically, we are on every Wednesday after the episode. Want to thank absolutely everybody who's here. We're so excited. Everybody in the chat, let us know on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think, what do you give this particular episode? Because we're gonna go down through the nitty-gritty, all of the chaotic mess, all of the drama for your mama. I'm so excited. Before we do anything, make sure, again, click like, subscribe, click to receive those notifications. Super chat is a great way to support our channel. And yeah, boo, what did you think, Bray?
I mean, it gagged me a bit for sure. I there was just so much that happened in one episode. So many emotions. I was like
So
irritated
much.
with people, and then I'm like upset that people are getting, medically left. And then that little cutoff at the end. Like, I'm like,
I
well, I need to know what's gonna happen tomorrow.
I'm just look, for it to be week 4 and there's only 2 evicted house guests and 2 people who have left. It's giving very BB Can 8. It's giving people are not playing this game. They're still snoozing. They still do not know what drama is, but they're still a chaotic mess. My God, they are the most
Very
fabulous. I say
chaotic.
this in the best way possible. They are the most chaotic,
I
messiest of the season.
There's just so much going on, and listen, like I said, this is what happens when you have 3/4 of the cast being water signs. Also, thank you, Diego.
Thank you, Diego. We love you. We love you. Thank you for supporting. I
Mwah.
do love your sweater, by the way. Like you are
Oh, thank
you're
you.
giving very spring.
I'm trying to, it's starting to the sunset so much later now. It's not, frigid,
I
so
know.
we love.
I for real. Yeah, first of all, let's start off with, because since we haven't seen each other since last Wednesday,
Oh
this
yeah,
is
true.
always how we recap. We recap to let everybody know that who got evicted.
Oh
Unfortunately,
yes.
King Rob got evicted last.
Roberto.
Yeah, Roberto. Um Roberto got evicted on this past eviction Thursday, and
Period.
Queen Chrissy ended up becoming the HOH, where she originally nominated Vanessa and Santina.
Yes.
However, we now come into this episode and we see that Vanessa has left the BB
I
house
know.
due to, unfortunate circumstances. I mean, what that is, we are not quite sure. It has been stated, I will say, it has been stated on Vanessa's Twitter that from her family that she left due to medical reasons. She did not quit the game. It's not like she just said, oh my God, I'm on the block, I quit. So for those who might think that that would be the reason why, as I know many of us probably do, we think, oh, is she self-evicted? That was not the case, or at least that's what Vanessa's family say, that this was actually due to a medical reason. Um,
I know. I'm
yeah,
so
and then
sad.
I
I
know,
hate to see it because she really was giving the drama.
that part, I really enjoyed. First of all, at least I thought we knew something was going on because she was not a part of anything in terms of the digital dailies. I mean, I'm thinking, like, if anybody was watching digital dailies, she would have been maybe on, I don't know, like maybe a handful of times during the past 3 weeks. No, I'm gonna say she's probably been on a digital daily maybe 3 times, and one of them was vacuuming the whole house. I think we saw more, we've seen but what I think that we have seen, at least thus far, is that, she was bringing a lot of tension into the house in regard
Period.
to
She was the
not
stir the pot
liking
queen.
Zach. Oh, yeah, she was definitely the stir the pot queen. She was one of the votes that, that was technically one of the rogue votes,
Yeah,
uh,
broken quotations.
to keep Roberto, even though people kind of knew that it was her, but she had been swearing up and down that she did not, um, cast that rogue vote. So I wanna say that coming into Kuzie's the beginning of her reign,
Mhm.
I was not very happy with her choice to put up, um, Santina and Vanessa. I thought it was a little bit of a soft choice.
Mhm.
Um, but you know me, baby, I like to go bold and just
You
say,
do.
put them all
You
up.
said you said, "When I shoot, I don't miss." So,
I did, except I never said that. So I hope that doesn't bite Kuzi in the behind because
that's
I
what
think,
that's what I'm so
yeah,
worried about. That, like, she might have, like because, like, it's cute and all to, like, have little, like, sayings and, like, kinda be like, "That girl," but I just worry that, like, that might come to, like, bite her back in, like, the butt, like, later on when they're like, "Oh, wow, like, that was, like, pretty crazy for her to, like, be that bold about it or, make such a big move so early on," She's such a competitive threat or such a strategic threat, like, she's here to win. I need my girl to lay in the shadows and then, sneak up and just dominate the later half of the game.
well, here's the thing too. It's just that we know from watching digital dailies and even on the episodes that Zach and Ty are very, um I don't know. I don't even know how to put this politely. So they're very particular people, in terms of the way that they treat individuals, right? I would not consider them kind.
Fair.
I would not consider them, I mean, I would just say they're kind of condescending mansplaining a-holes. Like
They're very authoritative. They like to take control of a situation, even if it doesn't need to be taken control
See,
of.
this is why I have you, Bray. This is why I have you, Bray. Because see, to me, I'm just like those condescending, mansplaining, misogynistic man. No, I would have just kept going. You're like,
I'm
they're
like,
just
"Okay,
very
fair."
authoritative.
I just think that
I mean,
they
given again, what?
yeah, I mean, no, I was just gonna say, like, they just really they move as though that, like, they built the BB house from the ground up themselves, you know?
Yeah, I mean, but probably I could kind of see that. Um,
Who
you
knows at
know,
this point?
they I mean, can you blame them? Ty and Zach built this game. This is what they've
Period.
done in life. That they were made for this. This they know. I mean, are you here? I, to quote Zach himself, like, are you here to play or are you here to win? Are you?
Facts are
What are you here
facts.
for?
Facts are facts.
Um, and as we see, he's here to play. Because he definitely, from the looks of it, is not going to win. Um, I mean, with all due respect, right? Because let's go. Let's actually go through it. I have so many notes, yo. I this we start with Kuzi, and this is why I was so just like, no, no, why Kuzi? Why?
Mhm.
Is she started the week with wanting Santina out. That was her
Target.
main target. She put Vanessa up. Vanessa got taken or left the house. And she said, well, if Santina ever comes off the block, um, her next choice would be Zach. Yes, great. I mean, can we start? I mean, I'm loving it. It's like chef's kiss. However, was this actually good for Kuzie's game.
See, that's what I've been trying to decide. I think that it's good for her game if she no longer wants to play the middle. Do you know what I mean? Like, if she is very happy with being like, "I wanna be on a very clear side, and I want it to be known where I stand, and that way I can, create strong bonds and trust with the people on that side," then go for it, queen. Make a big move, put up someone from the other side that, is seen as this huge threat. But if your goal is to kind of lay low and play the middle, which is what she's been doing thus far, that's why I was like, "Oh god, I don't know if you should be doing all this. I think we need to calm down, take a
Yeah.
chill pill, relax, go have a bubble bath." But if she's here to create a clear divide and be like, "You know what? I'm here for this other side, and that's who I'm here to play with, and if I end up going on the block next week because of it, or if I go home next week because of it, let it be, Then rock on, queen. You do
Yeah,
you. What do you think?
absolutely. I would have to agree. Look, this is giving right now very Jessica HOH, like I'm gonna toot my own
Period.
horn here for a second because I'm very proud of her for her to say, like, I don't care. I'm taking out a big target. This is what I'm doing. If I so be it that I go home, this man needs to leave. Love it.
Period.
Beautiful. You are queen. I respect that decision. Is it a game-winning decision? I don't necessarily know. I would probably
Same.
say in chat, let me know if you disagree or agree, but she didn't really have other than her personally having problems with Zach on a personal level
Mhm.
that she wasn't really voicing, right? It wasn't like they had a clear, that they weren't working with each other. Like Zach wasn't looking at her. Zach thought he
Very
was
that.
safe. Zach was a number for her essentially. Like even though she didn't like him, even though she doesn't like the way he speaks or talks to other people, I feel like she did it on a very personal this decision was more on a personal level, but
Mhm.
what's even worse for her is that, if she takes Zach out, she's basically taking everybody's target out and giving room for Ty to be able to work with so many other people. Like,
Hear
so
that.
it doesn't matter if Zach's gone, he will go to Claudia. Which means Claudia's not going to be targeting Ty. Maybe Claudia's or um Dan is no longer with Zach, so he's going to get closer to Santina and all of these other people, unless these women, which we don't see enough in the dailies, right? And we haven't really
Yeah,
seen
that's the
the
issue.
formation of the Women's Alliance form. The hope would be that these girls are just using the boys and, and they're still going to stick to this main Women's Alliance, right? Which at this point looks like it's Anika. Um, that it would be the girly, what are they called? The girly pops,
The Savage
Anika and
Squad?
Kuzi.
Oh, the Girly Pops, that's what
Huh?
they're called.
Yeah,
No,
they're not
you're
the
right.
Savage Sisters. Because that like broke off because Santina I think was in that one.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
either way, um, but if Dan is no longer with Zach, he's gonna get close.
Yeah,
He's
there's
gonna get
you'll
close
always
even more
find
with Shania or with
someone
Shania.
else.
Um, yeah,
My thing with this move for her is that 2 people that she had previously said that she trusted, the most are working very tightly with Zach. So I
absolutely.
understand like
And that
maybe
part,
her
yes.
her trying to, split them away from Zach, but in my mind, like that only works sometimes. I think majority of the time people get spiteful and they're like, why would you take away one of my numbers? Like you see Daniel talk about like, oh, I don't know if I can even vote out Zach if Zach goes on the block because, for you and Anika, this is a great move. But for me, like he's my closest ally in this house besides you two. So it doesn't really make the most sense. And I mean, same thing for Ty. You're kind of taking out like his ride or die guy. So I worry that because of like those moves, now there's going to be a lot of eyes on Kuzi, as well as, when you take out one of the biggest fish, like you automatically become the biggest fish. So, not only now does
Yeah.
she get rid of 2 of her closest ally, she now also potentially is going to take out one of the biggest fish in the game. So that's just my
Yes,
worry for my queen.
absolutely. No, I have the same worry, and actually, that was another point that I was gonna touch up on. Bray was just that, yeah, and then not only is she taking out a target and having all of all the girls now having Zach out, they can
Mhm.
freely work with the other boys in the house, but
Yep.
also, yeah, the fact that two of her closest allies, Ty and Daniel, like, are not okay with this decision. So you're in sense now having them doubt you and being in a
Yeah.
way worse position than what you were at previously. Not to mention, I mean, you're also giving like Santina hated Zach too. So now you're just giving Santina an even bigger reason to just like form a really tight bond with Ty, which she had in the first place. Um, it it was interesting. So this choice is interesting. She said that she was gonna die by the sword. It doesn't matter, like, if that's what her decision was.
Period.
The fact that she is very adamant about, like, how it's going to stick and how she has actually had I mean, I love me some Kuzi, don't get me wrong.
Period.
Queen has some HOHitis. Like, she is not really she's not acting the way I thought she would act from
Same.
her bio, because I think from her bio, we knew she was a queen, we knew she was sassy, we knew she was,
Period.
very alpha female, but what I thought she was gonna show in the house was gonna be kind
Version.
a more toned down version where she wasn't gonna show that to people. But now she's saying, I'm queen and this is how it's going to work and this is going to land. And she's talking to people like that. And I'm hoping that it doesn't rub certain people the wrong way in thinking that she
Mhm.
becomes that new person that people cannot work with
Exactly.
because she's being too difficult to work with, you know?
I I agree. That was like my I think that's always like a worry when you become or when like one of your faves becomes like HOH is that like you get a lot of power and you feel like you have a lot of control, but I think
Hmm.
something that's really important is that you know it's for such like a finite amount of time. Like come Thursday night, like it's done. Like I need to make sure that, for the following week that I'm set up good. And I just don't necessarily, at least from like the dailies, from like the diary rooms and from what we're seeing, I don't necessarily know if she's setting herself up for like the upcoming weeks. But also, two people are already gone. So like, is it already jury after this? Like, I know I'm like,
All
it's
we
so
need is one
early.
more.
No, I'm
Look,
like, it's so early, but like, is it technically jury already? So I mean, is it not
yeah.
early anymore?
And to I guess not. I mean, this is
That's why
gonna
I'm
be the
like,
5th.
huh?
I'm like, "Is it too early?" Yeah, you're right.
That's why I'm like,
It's
technically
the
it's
5th
mid-game
eviction.
now. Like, it's technically mid-season.
We're literally playing, like, Big Brother, like, was it Fast Forward. It's like, time like, the 2X version.
No,
Like,
it's
it's
wild.
just gonna we're just, fast forwarding way too
I'm
fast
like,
on this,
finale
but
is in 2 weeks, so be
yeah.
ready.
By 2 weeks, 2 more people will have
Have
self-evicted
left, and
or
two
been
people will be
gone.
evicted. So
There's
final
it's
three.
obviously the slop. It's obviously the slop. Something is in that, Big Brother water that's getting people sick and medically evacuated. Um, no, but I mean, in sense, this is going to be very interesting. You're right. Do you want someone? Well, actually, to be quite honest, I feel like she should have targeted Ty versus anybody else, and I know
I
that
agree.
was her one. Zach was not probably the right choice. Like if you were going to see like who, I mean, she would have
Between the
lost. I
two,
feel like she's losing Ty with this decision either way, so I'm a
that
little
part.
scared for the queen. Um, but at the same time, I feel like if you're doing this and Zach's going out and you lose Ty, you might as well lose Ty completely and just get him out because I feel like on the episodes and on the digital dailies, he had proven to uh, be um, unmanageable, not very great to work with. It's very one-sided when you're working with him. I mean, I think we've seen it on a lot of different episodes. He's had it in with Zach, he's had it in with Kuzi. I'm actually kind of um, disappointed that, I mean, this last digital daily that we had before they canceled the digital dailies for the week or for these next couple days, showed a much longer HOH talk with Kuzi and Ty. Um,
Mm,
Surprised because this episode didn't really show how volatile that
yeah.
that conversation was. I mean, Kuzi got loud, Ty got loud. Dan came into the HOH room while his name was being called out. It was actually an amazing clip or amazing digital daily. It was like the whole conversation. And in the episode, we literally only got a little snippet of
Yeah, like a
what
cute
that
little
was. And
piece.
it looked like, okay, I'm gonna put Zach up. And he's
It
like,
looks very
well,
amicable, like,
yeah, like,
"Okay, I
I
guess."
don't agree with that. Okay, 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 bye.
Say that.
See you
But
later.
you're like, "Oh, okay, I guess he wasn't,
No.
that against it."
It didn't show that he was doing everything in his power. They were getting they were talking over each other. Kuzi was getting very upset because he was basically telling her that she wasn't playing the game um in the right way, and that it was a dumb decision, and whether she was thinking or not, and like all of these condescending and just horrific ways that I swear if I would have been in the house, I might have gotten evacuated. Like they might have taken me out of the house because someone would have had
Oh?
to like hold me back. No, that's not true. I probably would have taken it and I just would have been like, you're out. Like that conversation actually with Kuzi and Ty, had I had
Mhm.
that conversation, would have made me put him up.
Oh, same, instantly, I'm like, "Well, if you wanna talk so much, if you think you're not playing the game, well, I'll show you who's playing the game. You can sit on the block
Yeah,
and talk your way
exactly.
off. Fine."
However, I can see how maybe she might have thought about it. We don't know because we don't see the dailies, right? We don't
Exactly.
know anything about that. But she might not have had the actual numbers to get him out.
Sure, stuff like
Zach
that
wouldn't
happens.
have voted for him. Dan wouldn't have voted for him. Um, Probably Claudia would have not voted for him. Jonathan would not have voted for him. Um,
Yeah, and I think you only need 5 votes this week?
Yeah, I don't know anymore because there's only half the house left.
You know
How many numbers do they need now? I'm not good with
plot
math.
twist?
What's
Well, because last week it was a 7 to 4 vote, and 1 person already left,
Yes.
and then there's 2 people on the block.
And then another person, 2 people. It was a 7-4 vote. So one person taken out of that, that would be
Mhm.
10 votes, but one person came out again, so it's 9 votes. So basically, they only need 5 votes.
Yeah,
They only need 5 votes to keep, because it's 9, right? Okay, if
I think
anybody who's
so.
watching this can confirm any of that, we're literally
Well, because
just
there's
talking
3
from our.
people that won't be voting, the HOH and then the 2 nominees.
Correct. But if it's a 7-4 vote, right, that means it's 11 votes. It was 11 votes.
Oh, yeah.
Rob's out, so that's one man down. That was 10 votes, but now Vanessa's out, so that would be 9 votes.
Yeah.
That's how I did my math. I don't know. But yeah, it's crazy. I will say though, as we get along, we know that Santino was the original target.
Mhm.
Vanessa left. She asks Hope to go on the block. And I just really loved that Hope was just very much, yes, ma'am.
Wait,
Like, I'm doing
I need to
this.
know, do you believe that Hope actually, like, this has been his strategy the whole time, or do you think it's phony baloney?
So, what do you mean in terms of? Oh, thank you,
Oh,
Joseph. Yes.
period.
Uh 12
In terms
minus 3
of
equals 9. It will be 5 votes. Wait,
in
12?
terms yeah, because there's been 16 people that started the cast, right? And 4 people are
Got
gone.
it. Yeah.
Um, what's it called? No, like, Hope's little strategy of saying that, like, it's just been a strategy of him saying he wants to go home.
No, I don't.
So you think it's phony
I
baloney?
think it was very well, I think it's a little bit more complicated to that. I think that in the beginning he really did. When you're watching the digital dailies, like the very first few digital dailies,
Mhm.
he was hurting. He was just not in a good space. He was not understanding the game. He was not getting along with people. He was missing home. There was a whole bunch of things that I think were probably going on in his mind. Um, However, after he started winning a couple comps, I mean, he is a comp guy. He's not going to be a strategic mastermind. We all know this. I think for him, eh, his value comes from winning these comps. He wasn't winning comps. He
Mm,
wasn't doing like, and he needed some time to readjust to knowing
gotcha.
that there are other people in the house that can do better at something than you. I think maybe it's humbled him in a way.
Mm.
Maybe, I don't know. That's my non-professional psychiatric evaluation. But I do think that what it is now, like in wanting to throw a vote and do like well, I don't know what what the rogue vote was for, but I more so because that's his boy, and Rob was his boy, so he was gonna throw the rogue vote just because he didn't want Rob, to feel bad. I think that was a very heartfelt decision, and then saying that it was just,
Yeah.
like, to keep people on his toes. I don't think that's true. But if you're gonna do something like that, then
Keep it to
don't
yourself?
please and thank you. Like, why? Why would you do that?
Yeah,
Like,
and, like, I understand he was like, "Oh, Ty and Zach are already pretty much catching on." I'm like, "Pretty much catching on and knowing are 2 different things, babe. 2 totally different things," you know? Because people can assume things, but when people know things,
uh,
2 different things, because when people assume things, you can obviously talk your way out of it, and I feel like a rogue vote is one of those things that, like, realistically doesn't matter at the end of the day because, like, it'll fit whoever's narrative you want it to fit. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I want it to be Jessica that through the rogue vote, I can spin it in a way that it'll make it sound like Jessica through the rogue vote. So it really doesn't matter. But the fact that he's
yeah.
like, "Yeah, it was me, you know. What can I say?" I'm like,
Well, they
"I
didn't show. Oh, no, they showed that he told, Renee, right? In the last episode?
I don't think
Or was it in
so."
the Oh, I'm getting the dailies confused because he also told Renee that he was a rogue vote. And, obviously, Renee, said that she trusts Hope the most, so that's kind of like her number 1 guy, which I think is really hilarious at this point, but you can kinda see that relationship building, and I actually I'm not mad about it. I love to
Oh,
see Hope, be with Renee than to be with the boys. And I think that this episode is really that I mean, he pretty much chose that side because if
did he
he's
though?
using
Because this man really
I
was
think
like,
so.
"I gotta go with Kuzi because I just feel like this is the right thing to do right now." And I'm like, "Right now? So what about next week? What if Ty wins? You gonna be Ty's little best friend when he's like, we need to get rid of Kuzi?" He's gonna be like, "Well,
Well, here's the oh, yeah, I mean, no, you're right. I guess Hope doesn't really have loyalty to anybody. He is the biggest wild card of the season now that
that
Vanessa's
part."
gone. Like we can't really trust him to we don't
Period.
know where his loyalties lie. Someone like Renee says he's my closest he's my closest in the house and he's voting to get
Victor.
her out. And then he's saying that Zach, and then Hope is saying that Zach is his most trusted person, and he took himself off the block, purposely knowing that Zach was going
That's
on
what
the
I'm
block.
saying. That's why I'm
But
like, what is this man doing?
but at this point, well, but here's the thing. I feel like this also shows Zach and Ty's character of like how they are not very good at being manipulative without sounding manipulative. Like
Mm,
it, there's a difference. I love when people manipulate or in the game, rather not in real life, please. I do not like those type of people. However, in the game, if you can manipulate somebody do it in such a way that you make it seem like it's their idea
Mhm.
and that it was like, I mean, I feel like, and hot take, people may or may not agree. I feel like Kevin Jacobs was like this.
Oh, yeah, no, very good
And
at
I
leading a
feel
horse to
he was
water.
very great. Absolutely. Like he was insanely good at making it think that it was their idea or like doing things. He very strategic about it. Not this is ludicrous. You're not even playing the game right. You like this is a dumb decision. Like you need to do this. Everybody's expecting this. You need to be this or you're gone next week. I'm sorry. What? That's not how you talk to people. That's not how you manipulate. A-
I
And I
agree.
think Hope even realizes that as well. Like what people didn't see in this episode was also the conversation between Hope and Ty. Because Ty started that conversation with when do you want to leave? As if he had the power to ask Hope, hey, when do you want to leave?
But
Because I need you
I'm
to to
I mean,
to
fair,
to use a
fair, but
veto on
also
somebody else.
he was like, "Oh, you guys can just, line me up and send me out." And we were like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "In a week." I was like, "Okay, sounds good."
But
Like,
it
what?
right, but what I love at least because in the digital dailies we're seeing this and we're like, what is going on here? This like Hope is an idiot. Like, how does this make sense? And then we watch his diary room sessions and he says, yeah, at first I wanted to leave. Like I was making people believe,
Mhm.
I was down to leave and I just wanted to help them in any way. But that was just like a strategy, not the best strategy, by the way. Sorry, Hope. I mean, I really like you, but like that, not the
That's what I'm
best
saying.
strategy to tell people that you're not taking this seriously. Um, but now someone's like, well, Hope doesn't care. He wants to leave anyway. Do us a favor. They're not saying do us a favor. They're saying like, bro, no, take your don't use it or use it on Santina. I forget what I mean, he's done a
Yeah.
couple of things, right? He said to use it on Santina so they could stay on the block. He said to not
I
use it. I thought for sure, I really did think at some point that he was not going
Same.
to
When
use
he
it.
was talking to Renee, he's like, "Yeah, well, I I obviously have to use it on myself, right?" I'm like, "Huh?" I'm like, "I can't. This can't be deja vu for me." I'm like, "I've already been here, done that before. I can't be doing this
He
again."
he did say that he wanted to play like Jet. So I'm just saying it the the idea this week would be for him to not use the veto if that's what he wanted to, if that's what he wanted to do, but apparently not. Um, but yes, either way, I think that this is great because he knows that he got off and he knew Zach was going on the block.
Very much.
Um, and I mean, it's here for an insanely chaotic uh couple days for sure, which is probably why we're not even watching or they're not even showing the digital dailies, which I mean, I
I
know people
agree.
were very, very upset about.
Yeah, we got some drawings instead, you know.
Some drawings, some paintings,
Some
little
paintings.
yeah, insane, but now knowing that Vanessa was,
Mhm.
you know, not I'm not going to say self evicted, was just taken
But left the
out
game.
of the game, left the game. And now with this whole drama for your mama about the letter that Ty is going
Oh,
to
yeah.
use to get Hope expelled from the game, like, whoa. Like, seriously, dude, if I didn't think you were that bad for you to even say you wanna get someone evicted, that you have something to blackmail somebody, like Yo, this is wild.
Yeah, it was giving a lot, but also I just like don't know like what type of letter that it could be unless like he snuck a letter from home in his bag and he like reads it every night and he told Hope about it or told Ty about it. But this is my thing,
Wait,
you know?
you know the letter that they're talking about?
No, I'm saying if that's like what it is, like I just don't know like what letter potentially like he could be talking about or if he somehow got a letter from the backyard. I have no idea. But I just want to say that like Ty does realize that like they are Mike 27. So like I just feel like nothing's a secret in that house. Do you know
It
what I mean?
isn't.
Like everyone knows. Like if there was really something that I feel like could have gotten him ejected from the game or disqualified, I just feel like it would have already happened. Like they're not gonna wait until someone is like, I'm gonna blackmail them now. You
Yeah,
know?
I
Personally, unless for some reason the power went out, nobody knew, and all mics were cut off, all the cameras were down, and Hope was like, "Oh, by the way, this, and this." That's the only way I could see it ever being an actual thing.
look, if this was correct, first of all, I don't know what BB Can is trying to pull here. Because they said, watch tomorrow for the scandal that rocks the house. Shocking truth tomorrow on Big Brother. Whatever. I'm like, wait, what shocks the house? Like,
the
why
letter,
would
the
I
le-
mean the
the letter
letter
his
that's
birth
gonna get him
certificate that says
expelled?
he's 23.
The letter the letter that what? That's gonna expel him because Big Brother didn't see the letter that Hope told Ty about when they're mic'd 24/7. And how in the world is Big Brother not going to know this, and how is it going to expel him? It
That's
makes
what
no
I
sense.
personally think. I mean, obviously anything's possible, but I feel like if it was actually a thing, that it would have already been a thing and been dealt with. You know?
Yeah.
Personally, is what I would believe. But
Yeah.
listen, shockers
Natalie
happen.
says, like, I know what letter is about. It's about Hope. Apparently, Rob knew about it. Well, yes, it's about Hope because Ty said it in the episode that he has something that's gonna get Hope evicted from not evicted, expelled from the house. And it's the letter. And which I think Natalie meant was just that Rob did post on his Twitter account that the letter is not anything to be evicted for. So I don't know if Rob's trying to give us, if King Roberto, mi rey Roberto,
Not me,
um, yes, is giving us that tea and saying that he's not getting evicted. It is not that serious. And I don't know if he was really supposed to say that, to be quite honest. But I love me some tea anyway. So I'm like loving
Oh,
that they
very
even
that.
said.
But yeah, I
Um,
definitely agree though that it's just like I don't know. I see like it both ways. Like I know some people are like it's Big Brother, it's not the real world. So like do whatever you have to do to win. Like people lie, steal, cheat, manipulate. But I just feel like if you're really gonna go like that low to like try and get someone to do something you want, so you're like, I'm gonna blackmail you and get you disqualified from this house. I'm like, is it really that serious? Like, is it really that serious?
I mean, I I don't even know at this point what disqualifying him from, like, or evicting him from this house, or like expelling him from this house would do. Zach still is still is still on the block, and potentially will still go home.
Well, and that's why I
I
was confused because to me it seemed like the blackmailing was supposed to be done before the veto. So that's why I'm
I'm sure
like,
he did, Charlie. I'm sure Roberto did.
shut up.
He said, oops, oops. I my contract is still
Not
is
that.
still valid.
But yeah, no, I feel like the blackmailing or like the I'm gonna confront him was supposed to happen before the veto, and so that's why I'm like, so did it already happen and nothing happened?
I guess we'll
Because
see
what's the point of
tomorrow.
blackmailing someone after the veto?
I know, I
I'm
don't
like, so
know.
now you're gonna go home, you're gonna self evict, or I'm gonna get you disqualified. Which one? Pick.
Uh, mm, I can see. Let's see what some of the people have to say. Joseph says Zach and Ty thought they were running this shit. Yes, they did.
There he
They
is.
are pissed that Kuzi has the numbers to get rid of Zach. 100. Um,
Oh, I know when Kuzi told him that in that HOH room, shaking in his boots. When she was like,
look,
just so you know, I have the votes. If Zach goes
yes,
out, he's going home, just so you know.
yes.
I
I
said, oh,
mean, there was even a point where she's like, I just want to let you know that I am fully capable. And I was just like, oh, yes, girl. You tell him you are fully capable. Very smart. Very. I was like, don't mess with Kuzi, man. Like, I have no idea why she picked
oh,
Ty to be like
no. When he's
her
like,
right
oh,
hand.
Renee's an indirect threat to you. And she's like, I'm not here for indirect threats. I'm here for direct threats. So that's why I'm going after Zach. And I said, oh, there we go.
So, Trent says, so do we know if anybody got removed, like Hope or Ty? Will there be an eviction this week? So, as of right now, we do not know if anybody actually got removed. That will be on tomorrow's episode. I
Period.
don't think I mean, it feels highly unlikely that Ty would have anything on Hope that production doesn't already know. And if they have not taken him out, um, yeah,
Oh, I have a
then
question.
yeah,
Do you remember on season 8 when someone self-evicted, did they still like play out the week? And then like on Thursday they were like, psych, no one's going home? Or did they tell them right then and there, like, the week is just like tossed? Well, there'll be a new HOH on Thursday, live your life. Because I just wonder, like, do you think they'll be like, psych, there's no eviction today, guys. Ah, you guys are both safe. Because they like to play games
no.
over there at Big Brother Canada, and they will play with them, make them all do a vote, and then Arissa would pop on and be like, "Just so you know, by a vote of 7-4, no one's going home this week because it's a safety week."
Oh,
Gag them all a bit.
for real. I don't know when they got evicted. Oh no, yes. Actually, they did stay. That's interesting. I remember because Sheldon, I feel like this happened to Sheldon various times. He won HOH a couple times.
Twice, right? Back to
Week
back.
one, there was no eviction. Yeah, there was only one. Joseph says there was only one eviction on BB Can 8 before it was shut down, but there were 2, 3 people, 4
Because there
people
was like
gone.
one self eviction and then like a dispelment of 2 people. But yeah, no, I was just wondering like if they still made them like play out the week, and then
Yeah.
just like on Thursday night, we're like, there's no eviction, you guys. Just head to the backyard for the HOH comp.
Um, that would really suck. That actually oh god, I don't feel like that
Oh, of
would be
course.
fair. That would just
I
not be
I
fair if
agree.
Queen if everybody
After
in the
all of
chat,
this,
let us know, agree or
oh, they
disagree.
played out the
There
week.
will be
Joseph
nobody
said.
coming. There will be no one leaving tomorrow. The
Joseph
the
said they
the
played out
the
the week.
shocker of the house is that they will come on the announcement and say because someone has left the house, there is nobody leaving this week.
It would be drama. I would just feel like if I was Kuzi, like you said, I feel like it'd be really unfair because it now have nommed 3 people and not one of them has left.
But here's the reason why I feel like they wouldn't do that, because they didn't do that. They didn't do that for Amal. Well,
There
no,
was it.
they didn't do that for Amal,
But
and
remember, there
they
was a week 1 no eviction.
but the week one no eviction was still happening even with Amal
She.
gone.
That's true.
before she even left, there was not going to be an eviction. So I think in this case, now that we have two people out, I'm thinking maybe if it happens again, they would not um they they wouldn't do that, or they would just say they'd wait a
I
week.
agree. I think that
I don't know.
I don't think that they would. I was just wondering if that was the thing, but like you said, I feel like that would have been something that would have just been told to them, like before Kuzi had to renom someone. Like, you know what,
I
guys,
don't think
it's
that
just
we
not
would
going to be
go
another
through.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a full week again. They just be like, let's just
Yeah.
do an HOH on Thursday. Everyone chill.
I am 90% confident that someone is leaving tomorrow,
I just know it
because
would be very gaggy.
it would. It absolutely would. And I think people would riot more so than, I mean, people are rioting this season anyway. So what's another riot for Queen Kuzi? Might as well. But at the same time, the way and the wording of it was very much the scandal that rocks the house. Like, so they're not talking about, a new something new that happened or an
Hmm.
unexpected, I would expect them to use different wording versus a scandal that rocks the house. And
See?
you're talking about a scandal that rocks the house, and the shocking truth has nothing to do with, okay, so no eviction this week.
True.
And then I also feel like that's a way of kind of manipulating the game as well. It's just not um it's not fair. It's not fair to Kuzi. It, like, that would just be a huge disadvantage if she played out the whole week, because let's say if Vanessa left, then they would have said there is no HOH this week, or there is nobody going home this week. It's not Vanessa left and now you have to do a new replacement. Now you have to replace them with another
Yeah. No,
person,
that's what I'm
you
saying.
know?
I feel like the fair thing would be to just have like canceled the week then and there in that moment. Um, Instead of, like I said, like having her like renom and then having them do a veto and then having someone take themselves off the block and then putting a replacement on, all for them to be like, ah, psych, gotcha. But crazy things happen in that place. So, but no, so far, I agree with you. I do think someone will be going home tomorrow. Who do you think will be going home tomorrow? If the scandal is nullified, there's no scandal. It's Zach Santino on the block.
Um, I'm pretty sure that Zach would be going home. At
I
this
agree.
point, he just does not have any votes to keep him. I
Don't forget
think
about Daniel.
um ooh, Daniel. I had high hopes for him.
Oh
Not
no,
They're not all gone. They're not all gone.
no.
I still love me a little bit of Daniel, but like seeing him this week really disappointed me.
I
Um
I understand like him wanting to like quote unquote diversify his portfolio, but I
Diversify? If that's
I
the word
just
you chose, Brayden?
well, I
Diversify?
mean, he's already working with all the girls, so it's like who's left, you know? Um I just feel like it just shouldn't have been like I mean, shouldn't is such a strong word. I just feel like there was other choices that he could have, maneuvered himself with, but
Yeah.
I just worry that for Daniel, especially that this might also kind of isolate him from the group.
Absolutely. Look, here's the thing. I think you can testify to this, Brayden. Like, will is it a smart move for him to not vote out Zach? I mean, I actually, this episode really opened my eyes to see, like, wow, I didn't know you felt that strongly about this man, like,
Mhm.
and why. This is very, all of us, I mean, not all of a sudden, we're not watching feeds, so we don't know if this has been going on for, like, how he's being worked. I just want to be able to see what Zach did and why Daniel's fallen for it.
just yeah, 'cause I saw some people on Twitter that were like before this episode that were like, "Oh, Daniel's just playing Zach, like he, is using Zach's affluence in the house and, belief that he can control him to his advantage." Um, but I mean, from this episode, it seems like he genuinely like really, really trusts Zach. Like it doesn't seem like it's a oh, Zach thinks I'm stupid and that I'm just gonna do whatever he says. I'm just gonna go along with it. It seems more like, oh no, like I'm working with Zach. But also, didn't this man in the diary room say that he doesn't trust any of the men?
I don't know.
But I'm
I
like, but
thought
you're
he was
going to
working
bat.
everybody. I thought he was working everybody. I feel like Daniel at some point, I mean, aside from Ty, it pretty much has a lot of the girls like in a good space. Like there's not anybody that's looking at Daniel right now and saying like he needs to leave. Like I don't know if it's different now that he just like blew up over this rogue vote. Boo, you
Yeah.
didn't have to go all that crazy. Like this was the like I thought that Daniel was that who he was trying to kind of control to not blow
Hmm.
up in the house because that's just a major red flag when you're,
Yeah.
when you're in the house. I think that
Anything is so.
shows a certain yeah, but it's yeah, this whole Zach Daniel, I did not see coming. It was a total I don't know. It's just wild. Um
Yeah, I do
yeah.
worry. I don't know. Like I agree with you. I thought that Daniel was a lot more interconnected. I thought with a lot more of the house guests, but to me, it almost seems like he's kind of been on like an island with Anika. Like, if
Yeah, I
anything,
mean,
Anika is more connected in that house with all the girls than because when Kuzi was like, "I'm gonna take him to Wendy so I can solidify like the girls plus Daniel," I was like, "Aren't you guys already solidified?"
I'm thinking that it's maybe the girls like the girly pups and it's them 3 and the girly pups like creating an alliance.
Oh, okay. I see what you're
So
saying.
it's 3 and 3, which I love, to be quite
Of
honest.
course.
I think that it's an amazing, it would be an amazing alliance. But maybe I think what Daniel was saying is that outside of that alliance, he doesn't have anybody outside, which means like
Mm.
Zach was his guy. And I get it. We we get mad when
Oh, of
our
course.
others
When you're a person,
are
exactly.
well, yeah, when our person is voted out. Like my person in the game was Kat, and like I did not vote for her to leave, and I tried very hard to keep her in the game, even though there were two people on my own alliance that were together in on the
Mm.
block. But like that was my ride or die. She was my number one, and so um I did feel slighted. And when she left, like I took it very personally. Um as much as you try not to, but what Kuzi said is true. Like just because I come after s- your people does not mean I don't have your back. Like because technically it's true, Brayden, if you and I were working together, uh who's going to take out your people if it's not me? And who's going to take out my people if it's not you? Like if we're trying to get
Oh,
to the
exactly.
final, if we're trying to get to a final two situation, right?
I think
Um,
I definitely agree. I think it's just hard because obviously you want to set yourself up for success, and when one of your numbers gets taken away, it's like that feeling of uncertainty where it's like, well, now if Jess is number one, wins HOH next week, Jess can only have so much sway and they can do whatever they want, versus if I'm on the block, regardless of who it is, if I know I have the numbers because I have my people, I'm chilling. I think that's like the stress of it all. But I definitely understand what you're saying, where it's like, well, who's gonna get out the people so it can be me and you in the end if it's not me? Because obviously it can't be you.
yeah. It's a very sad thing, even though I'm glad it did not happen.
Hmm.
But gosh, hot take. This is gonna be just me and my random ass
Ooh.
like thoughts. But I'm actually very surprised at this point that Daniel and Kuzi didn't think to say, let's have a 4 with Zach and Ty. Like, if Daniel is
Same,
so close to Zach and
same.
she's so close to Ty, then they should have enough, of a bond to be able to say, okay, I really like this. Let's play in this way so that we can all keep each other
Even
safe.
before this week, yeah.
And that way Ty and Zach are always going to be, the first, the first
Exactly,
to
in that
go in that
group,
situation.
period, always.
um it just doesn't make sense to like say, okay, I'm going after your person and then you're going to come after my person, but then there's a whole other like alliance
That's, I
of like, because
think,
the
was what
girly
the
pops
issue
are
is.
chilling. The
I
girlies are just chilling.
and I think
They
that's kind of Daniel's point, is he's like, "Why don't you go over, like, go after Dan S. Why are you going after Zach right now?" You know?
Which also made sense. It would have been a perfect move at the time to just be able. Dan S is not doing anything, but he is a comp beast.
Mhm.
Um, but at the same time, I, as an HOH, would not want to take out the previous HOH and set an example that
Of
as
course.
HOH, I'm going to take out the prior HOH because they just all of a sudden became a target. You know what I
BB
mean?
Can
That's
10,
just not
yeah.
a good, yes, that is not a good look. Because being an HOH doesn't necessarily consider you a threat. It means that you won a competition, but by no means does it make you the comp beast or the thing. I mean, because there's different ways to win all of this, right? So
Maybe, but that's logical thinking, and people don't always have that in that house, I'll tell
no,
you
not
that
at
for sure.
all. Not ever. Let's see. Brian Chin says, quick question. House cats don't get paper and pen in there, correct? How would Hope be able to write anything in the house?
I mean,
Oops,
A, you don't get pen and paper, so
my bad.
that's correct, but, I mean, there's ways to write things, I mean,
Oh, for sure. I wrote things in the house. Not for not for game
games.
strategy purposes. I didn't write it for game. Girls, I use my eyeliner.
I was gonna say, like, girls
The
can use
girls use
eyeliner or
eyeliner, lip crayons. Um, we um we had this like kind of like powdered Gatorade. We had
mhm.
like this kind of like I forgot the
Okay,
name. So the squenchers. They were called
okay.
squenchers. And we would pour them in a little bit of water to make it nice and thick. And then we would paint it. I would use my eyeliner brush and I would dip it and we
Okay!
would create. I know we were you get creative in that house for sure. You get super creative in that
Y'all
house.
are doing too
So
much, not I y'all are doing too much. I'm like, "Where do you guys find the time?"
but also, I mean, we saw pictures on the BB Canada, on the BB Canada page that they just had an art project. So they could have just they could have had writing utensils. So
I don't know. I also, yeah, very interesting, but there's definitely ways, obviously, around it, but for the most part, yeah, like, you're not allowed to bring in, like, pens or paper or marker or crayons, but obviously, people can, like you said, use eyeliner or lip liner or,
yeah,
lipstick,
for
liquid
sure.
lipstick, so
But here's the thing. It doesn't matter if Hope was able to write anything. Production saw him writing. I mean,
yeah,
just because we don't have live feeds, y'all, does not mean that there's not cameras on them 24/7 and they're not listening in on conversations. The reason there's no live feeds is something completely different, but not
mhm,
because they're not being taped. That's life. No live feeds does not mean you're not being watched. They are still being watched.
period.
So if something happened and he started writing, um, who knows? Maybe the house, or not maybe the house, but maybe production was like, let's see where this leads to. And then they saw the letter, they thought it was stupid, they laughed, and then they were just like, let him have it. And then maybe this is going to be good for TV. Let's see how this plays out. I don't know. Could potentially, I'm not saying that that's what production did. I'm just saying if maybe that's what they saw. Maybe that's what they thought. Because they
Very
know. They'll say it. I don't know how many times I've been told, like, Jessica, stop that. That's basically what they would always say. Like, don't, like, when you can't do something, You can I mean, we tried making moonshine in the house. We like tea, straight up tea. Like we took a gallon of milk. Like once it was done, we washed out the gallon. We took a whole bunch of fruit. We stuffed it in there, like, and tried to make some crazy makeshift, moonshine. Put a condom over it to top it. And like hit it. And sure enough, production was like you know, called him into the diary room and said, "We're gonna need that. You can't do that." So yeah, I mean, yeah, moonshine. And
Y'all are
out of
bad.
all things, we tried to ferment fruit so that we could drink alcohol. That's how.
I hate to be that girl, but it would be your season that tried to make moonshine. Like, it would be. I wouldn't be shocked if you guys also tried to make dynamite.
I would not. I also would
I'd be
not
like, yeah,
would not
they
be
probably did.
surprised.
Wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, I don't know. I know moonshine. That's funny. But yes, Joseph said it was taking out Santina the way Kuzi could avoid not getting blood on her hands.
I think that she's already caused too much drama. That,
She did. I mean,
to
for
knock it out, Zach, then you really just fumbled your bag for no reason. Like, you did all this, you made this big dramatic speech of
look.
you missed 100% of the shots you don't take, blah 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 blah, and someone's telling me that I got to take a big shot when it's right in front of me, and my shots do not miss, they hit. For her to be like, anyways, bye Santina. Like, I would be like, girl, you did
He
all this for what?
said, yeah, Kuzi this week said, "Baby, go hard or go home. She does not care. Tomorrow is a new day, and if I am in the hot seat, baby, I will take it." And I love that for her. I mean, it's not a good
Period.
way to win the game, unfortunately. So I think I'm kind of screwed out of my draft. But at the same time, I love it. I love to watch the mess. I knew that this. I mean, we
Oh,
did say
great
it.
TV. Great
This
TV.
season, we said it. This season was going to be a chaotic mess of a cast, and I think that it
Entertaining.
very, very much delivers in that case.
I agree.
Um, I think. Let's see. No, someone said, really, Moonshine Jess wish we saw that on the feeds. Most of us were nervous to watch it because of a certain somebody. Oh yeah. Um, but yeah, it was an interesting times. Interesting times, just to say, people will be able to see you writing stuff, you doing anything. It's it's just not possible for you to catch things. I mean, the audience was able to see on the live feeds that Jackson was like cheating off on slop. Like they saw him eating. Like if you can see that on the live feeds,
Very
production
that.
can see. Production can see that.
Agree.
And so
Okay.
yeah, I'm not thinking.
No, I agree.
But
So for
whew,
tomorrow, we both agree that we think Zach is 100% going home. If there's no weird twist, weird drama, weird anything going
yeah.
on, Nom say the same. Regular vote. My money is on Zach leaving.
I I will agree. I think at this point, the only votes that I could see Zach potentially having is the two Dans, Dan, Daniel, and Ty. Dan may not if Shania says otherwise. Even though I don't know Dan's relationship with Shania like that, if they talk game, we don't know like how close these
Hmm.
relationships are. But technically, Dan is working with Zach. So I could not imagine Dan taking out Zach. Now, for those that do want to take out Zach, I think basically everybody, you have Jonathan, you have Shania, you have Renee, you have Anika, you have who else?
There's
Oh,
Claudia.
actually
There.
Vanessa could potentially be.
Vanessa's not
Who
that
do we
good.
have? But huh? Not Vanessa, Claudia. Claudia may potentially be a weird vote because of Ty. I could see Ty like getting really rowdy with this. I could
This is my
see
thing, is like, I feel like for votes, Zach potentially could have, like you said, both the dance, tie. I do wonder because Shania, I think, kind of felt slighted by like that hug between Rob and Santina that she might be a little spiteful. And she could be like, you know what, I want Santina gone. Like that's who I want gone. So that could be a fourth. And I really do feel like Hope could just throw another like pity vote for Zach, and then he ends up staying. Where he's like, you know, I wanted to cast another rogue vote to stir up the house.
this could and your big, oh my god, that big old laugh. Okay, so for people who are asking, the final noms as of today were Santina and Zach.
Yeah,
So Hope used the veto on himself, knowing full well Kuzi was planning on putting Zach on the block, and
yeah,
she did just that. She put Zach on the block. However, that speech that she made while putting Zach on the block could have potentially put a bad taste in people's mouths. So there is a way for Zach to actually stay, I think. I think
potentially.
that, people will say, well, I really don't want Santina here. The girls don't want Santina either,
Yeah,
right? Um, they maybe some of them from working with Ty don't want to piss off Zach. Don't I mean
Ty.
Ty, they don't want to piss off Ty, so they won't
Hmm.
vote for Zach, hence the Claudia. Um, and yeah, and maybe the girls will just be like, no,
Like it's
I think
possible.
I think we don't want to do this because technically then next week Kuzie's main target.
Very that, you know.
Someone
And
could just easily
that's what I'm saying.
state
It's very
that.
easy to be like, you know what? Let's do it. Why not? More,
Yeah.
less
Does
on.
Zach need to yeah, and does Zach need to go? Yeah, I mean, probably, there
I
is
agree.
there is no real reason why, like I said, no real reason why Kuzi should have put up Zach. It wasn't necessarily a threat to her game right now. However, I can also see people like Zach and Ty not really being good jury potential.
I was going
It's
to
like
say that is my biggest red flag for someone like Zach is I know that whoever Zach's rooting for and Zach's in jury, he will be swaying the whole jury house for them. And he, as we've seen, is a great talker and he clearly is able to manipulate these people quite easily. So I think that would be like my biggest red flag warning is I'm like, I don't know if I want Zach in jury personally, just for
I
that
wouldn't
reason
either.
alone.
Yeah, would try to control all the votes. So, like, if anybody doesn't have a good relationship with Zach to begin with, they don't want Zach in the jury because Zach will definitely be one of the main influencers
Period.
in that jury house. And I feel like Ty's gonna do the same thing. Ty, oh my God, miserable in jury. Like, who would want to spend that much time with Ty in jury? Goodness gracious, that's wild. But as you can tell, I'm not really digging.
But
I'm not really digging the Thai, thing, but yeah, I
I guess
mean,
we'll just have to see what happens. I'm really
we
excited for
will.
tomorrow's episode. I hate that, it's a week in between we recap, but just even more drama will ensue.
Yeah, and again, yeah, Brian, we agree. I think we said, I don't think that this was a Kuzi like that
Like
Kuzi putting
strategic
up
moment.
Zach was a strategic move. It definitely, yeah. Like Brayton said, it's not as strategic. This is very much of an emotional decision for her. She just does not like him as a person. She does not like how he speaks to people. I think there was
I
another
agree.
point where she had mentioned in the dailies that she they were pushing for Renee and Renee was not going to be a potential nom,
Mhm.
and Zach walked up to her and said, "Oh, you're lucky you're just a pretty face." Um, and it did not sit with Kuzi, and I don't blame her.
Of
I
course.
don't blame her. And this is why Big Brother is so interesting to play, because some people are going to play emotionally and some people are going to play strategically. In some cases, sometimes the strategic move would be like, they're not coming after me. So even though I don't particularly agree with the way they treat people in the house, this is my this is the way I'm going to win, because that's a number for me and he's a strong player. Versus emotionally, where they'll be like, nope, I don't care. I don't care for this person. And
I think
I don't want to be in this house for another 50 days,
yeah,
and listen to this man, or I am, I'm going to self evict. You know what I mean? So sometimes everybody's different. That's why we love this game.
I agree.
Yes. So everybody, hit us up in the comments. Well, actually, if you haven't already, make sure you did you like this video? Like, subscribe, click to receive the notifications. We're on every Wednesday. I wanted to say that. Next week, we are going to have Miss Tanisha White as one of our
Period.
co-guests. So we're really excited. If you have not watched Miss Tanisha, she is over there with Miss Queen Betty on season 10. An amazing season.
Yes,
We love our queens on season 10. So
period.
she's going to be in with us next week to talk about the aftermath of this whole Kuzi raid and who is going to be the next HOH, or even if anyone gets evicted, which what's the percentage on this again?
Of what?
Of like whether someone's going to get evicted tomorrow. Everybody who
Oh, I th
everybody put it in the chat or in the comments after this. Let us know who you think is going to get evicted, or if an eviction is even going to
listen,
happen.
it'll be drama if it's not, but again, I'm here for it.
Yeah, we don't know if someone's getting evicted. I'm gonna say I would probably riot if they don't get evicted. I think would be very unfair. I think
I
Brian also
agree.
said somewhere that it said that it didn't do their usual who will get evicted, Zach
True.
or Santina. Like, they didn't say that, right? It was just basically
Like,
the
watch what
house is
happens. Yeah.
watch what happens. The scandal that rocks the house. Okay, but are we getting an eviction? Like, so we're gonna know. Hopefully, we get the scandal.
I need it all in that
Hopefully, we get
60-minute
the
episode,
eviction,
baby.
and it's not. Yes, do not clickbait me. Do not make me watch this tomorrow and get me upset. Do not make me have to go buy a new TV because out of anger I threw my shoe at my
Ooh,
television screen. Do not. I will bill Big Brother
not the
Canada. I
chancla.
will. I will. I will throw the chancla and I will be pissed. I will be pissed. But
Perfect.
we're so excited to see tomorrow.
Can't
Everybody,
wait.
make sure again, click like, subscribe, click to receive those notifications. Next week, Tanisha White for BB Can 10 as we discuss the aftermath